Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and today I am going to continue with reviewing the Porsche Pack, and today we're looking at the Porsche 718 Cayman S. That's the car we're looking at today. I have to admit, decent car. Like I mentioned before, I didn't really know too much about Porsche. I never thought I'd really like them, but they're kind of growing on me, and this car is no different. You may notice I've switched traction control off immediately. That's because I've already taken this car out for one lap with traction control on, and now I'm taking it with traction control off just to see the difference. And obviously, I mean, there is something to mention about this car which I'll mention a little bit later, but might as well go on to some information about the car. This car's been around for, what, 10 years? I think 2005 is when the first Cayman came out, and it's had various updates. At the start, I really didn't like the Cayman. For me, Porsche has always been, you know, the 911s or the race cars, one or the other. Not these kind of cars, not SUVs, definitely not SUVs. Oh, the Cayman it's bad. I think it's really bad. I've seen one, you know, look at them in real life, the way the exhaust system's on. They're not brilliant cars, really not brilliant cars. But then you've got the Panamera as well, which again I thought was really not exactly a Porsche in its ideaing. I just thought it was 911 and these. But there you go, you know, that's just me. Sorry, not these, the race cars. But that again, like I said, that is just me. This car has 350 brake horsepower, and that comes in at about 6,500 RPM. Again, a very, very linear power curve, and then after that, after the peak, it just drops off in a fairly linear fashion as well. 420 newton meters of torque from just under 2,000 RPM all the way to 4,500 RPM, and then it flattens off. So really, I think the point where the two intersect, you're looking at around about 5,500 RPMs, where you're going to get the most power and the most torque at the same time, and that's going to give you about 400 bhp and about 400 bhp and not 400 bhp. What am I talking about? It's going to give you about 300 bhp, and it's going to give you about 400 newton meters of torque. Anyway, that's just that. Top speed is oh god, I didn't actually write this one down. Well done me. I didn't write the top speed down, so I'm going to just work it out. 100 and... is it 100 and something? Hold on. 150... I think it's about 165 miles an hour, it seems to be. Somewhere around that range. Pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Or 285 kilometers an hour. Again, I'm not really doing the working out in my head. I'm recording this at night. And 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. So it's no slouch. It's not exactly the fastest car, but still, it's fairly decent. And the engine in this car is funnily enough, a flat 4, not a flat 6. They used to have flat 6. Now it's a turbocharged flat 4 in this car. But it is faster. It's more powerful. So, you know, better performance. Though they have a 4-cylinder engine, you know, that's just how it goes. Nothing too fancy. It's a 2.5 litre engine, and last but not least, it is a 6-speed manual gearbox, which I like. When you have a stick to change gears, it's good. It's just always better. You know what? I don't know whether this is a rear wheel. I think it's, yeah, no, it's got to be. I think it's a rear wheel drive. It feels like a rear wheel drive, that's for sure. And that's exactly why I switched traction control off, to get a good feeling for the actual steering system. But there you go. That's the specs for the 718 Cayman S. I did mention its weight, didn't I? 1,430. If I didn't, 1.5 tons almost. So it's kind of a little bit heavy. But hey, it's nothing too bad. I mean, the power and that, it does give it a nice balance. I think it's quite nice, and you can see me sliding around. For the most part, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm trying to get the car going, and I'll explain that in a couple of moments. First, just to have a quick talk about the actual modeling and texturing. because it's a Kunos car, it's very hard to do this because, like we said, they always seem to get modelling and texturing very right. And with this partnership with Porsche, everything looks absolutely spot on. Again, Porsche, it has a clock in the middle of the dashboard, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't really realise that. I didn't actually notice that when I was driving. I was completely not looking at that. I was focusing on the road a lot, and I really like this red display with the white numbers. Red display does work, but that being said, you've got the red needle, and I think the needle being red with the background being red, it just doesn't seem to work for me. I think if they had, I don't know, a black needle that lit up white at night, that would possibly be better. I think that would look pretty cool. But you can also see it gives you the turbo pressure there. You've got the oil temperatures, the water temperatures, and you've got all that kind of information. And you've got a little clock there as well. The temperature, 25 degrees. You can see that there. Obviously, the odometer that doesn't actually work. And you've got the speedometers and the tach. You've got the tach in the middle and the speedometer actually over on the left. As you actually get from these sports cars, they normally put the tachometer in the middle because you don't really need to know your speed. You just need to know how hard you're revving before you need to change gear. As you can see, another slide, kind of getting used to it. Does have a nice digital readout though as well. Sounds are really, really good on this car, inside and out. There's only one thing that I really don't like about the sounds. There's so much wind noise for some reason on this car. I thought maybe it was the 1.9 update that caused it, but I tried other cars and there's not that much of a wind noise in the car. This car has so much wind noise outside. You know, the noise of the wind buffeting against the car. It's just not, I don't know, it just doesn't sound that good. It does not sound that good with the wind noise. Everything else sounds really, really good. Even from the outside, you can tell that it's one of those flat engines. You can tell it's a 4-cylinder. You can tell it's turbocharged. It's nice. That wind noise really does let it down, though. And physics-wise, when driving it with traction control on and not trying to push it in any which way, this car's kind of boring. It's not like really super dull, but it's kind of boring. It feels really tame. It doesn't feel like a Porsche. I mean, you know, you expect the 911 style performance. This doesn't have it, just like the Panamera, which doesn't have any of that. This doesn't have it either, but I thought this would be a bit more sporty, a bit more lively. When you're driving it normally, not really pushing, it's not. Once you actually switch the traction control off and you start pushing the car, you know, going into the corners and then accelerating a little harder, feeling the understeer, trying to catch some oversteer, stuff like that, putting your foot down, then it's a lot more lively and it feels so much better. I must say, once I switched the traction control off, the car was fun. It was really fun to drive. And you're about to see me do something, a fairly nice slide in a few seconds, although admittedly my head just instinctively started looking where I would expect to look if I was sliding this for real, which of course is not where you'd expect to look in Assetto Corsa, because the head tracking is not one-to-one with my actual head. So here comes the slide, and here comes a slight moment of panic when I realise everything's just gone a bit wrong. See, now I'm starting to look in the opposite. There you go. Just there. I just flick my head over and it just doesn't work. But still, the slides are possible. It's a nice car. Overall, what do I have to give this car? It's a dull car when it's got traction control on, but when it's got traction control off, it's quite fun. The wind noise is annoying. I do like the rear spoiler that turns into a rear wing once you're at a certain speed. That's kind of cool. You can see that in the replay box. It's kind of a tough one. 8.5? 8.5 out of 10, something like that. Either 8 or 8.5 out of 10. You see, I'm looking around now. Very nicely modeled, very nicely textured. Looks beautiful. It really does look beautiful. I think 8.5 out of 10. 8.2, 8.25 out of 10. It's a nice car. It has this setback of the wind, which you can hear. See? And it has that setback of not being exactly very exciting when traction control is on. But when traction control is off, it's a nice car. It's a really fun car to drive. It's very driver oriented once the traction control's off. It's just a shame that it's not when it's on. So 8.2, Yeah, 8.2 out of 10. So there we go. That's where I'm going to end the episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. Leave a comment in the comments box below. Next car on Sunday should be the Porsche 911 Carrera S. Is that what it is? I think so. I'll see you guys then.